If you like science or technology, you've probably seen Kurzgesagt videos on YouTube. And to be honest, I haven't seen any of their newer videos, but their most recent AI video has some issues and I want to address them. I'm going to go through the video like just point by point and just sort of give my opinion and talk about the things that they mention. So in the beginning, they describe intelligence and they talk about how long and hard it was for us to get here. And I completely agree with this take. I think people don't realize how difficult it has been for us as a species and how much has changed just even in the last 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, nowadays you couldn't expect somebody to live without social media, and most of the social medias that are used today didn't even exist like 15 years ago. So yes, a lot of things have changed and I completely agree with what they said there. They then give a brief history of AI. They mention how in 97, the first AI beat chess champion Garry Kasparov. And I love the animations that they use. They kind of make it look really evil, but each their own. They mention how new AI models are like black boxes, which we don't understand. And this is correct. We don't fully understand how ChatGPT, for example, actually works and how it produces the output. But this is where then they make the first statement, which is just wrong. They say machine learning is an umbrella term for many different training techniques and environments. Okay. But then they say that allows algorithms to write their own code and improve themselves. This is simply not true. This is not what machine learning is or what it pertains to. Machine learning is an umbrella term, but to say that it specifically refers to algorithms that write themselves and improve themselves, that's completely wrong. Moving on. They say that ChatGPT, for example, has been trained on everything on the internet. This is a pretty broad statement, but okay, we'll take it. It says that it handles language better than most people. Now, I would tend to agree with this, but I do feel like I need to mention that ChatGPT and a lot of the new AI models, they work best with English. And obviously, English isn't exactly used everywhere on the planet. I mean, okay, it kind of is, but a lot of people obviously use a lot of different languages. So to say that, okay, yeah, these new AIs, they handle language better than everybody else on the planet simply isn't true. They handle English better than most people. Okay, yeah, fine, I'll agree to that. But to say that they handle language generally better than most people, I would disagree with that. And then say that it can help with some math problems. Please don't use ChatGPT for like computations. If you want to like explore ideas and such, absolutely, but don't trust it when it actually does some maths. It cannot be trusted. It doesn't do it right. They then say that AI is already changing a number of different industries, which I completely agree with. I think AI is going to change most industries. And they say that elections are expected to be inundated with propaganda and misinformation. This has already been happening for years and years. Like, if anything, there's only like a couple months left for the US election, and we haven't even seen all that much. Like, people were talking about how AI is going to completely destroy the internet and destroy social media, and like especially because of the election and all the misinformation that's going to be spread, but we haven't even seen all that much. So to say that AI is going to make this worse, I don't think we have seen evidence of that just yet. But I definitely think it will make it easier to spread misinformation. That I completely agree with. They say that no one is sure how much good or harm can come from adopting AI everywhere. Okay, fair enough. And that is depending on how you look at it. Okay, fair enough. We can agree with that. But I just love the animations that they have, like with the winners and the losers, and like it kind of shows how because of ChatGPT, all these riots are going to happen, and like society is going to like collapse in a sense. This is like I feel like there's definitely one side is being shown here, and like they're sort of leaning towards the negativity and the bad things that can possibly come from AI. They talk about, and this is also probably one of the most important points, they say by building faster computers and pouring more money into AI training will get us new and more powerful generations of AI. This is simply not true. we don't know if that's true or not. That this is such a big assumption that you can't just throw that out there. Kurzgesagt has like over 20 million subscribers, and this video already has over 2 million views by the time I am recording this video. And to say this so nonchalantly, like, yeah, by building better computers and by pouring more, money in training, in AI training, we're going to get like way stronger models. Like, a lot of people in AI don't even believe that the current architecture that we're using, which is transformers, is going to take us to AGI, or like sort of take us to the next step of AI, whatever that is. In fact, a lot of people even think that just by adding more compute, it's not going to make AI that much better. Like, as of right now, yes, we are seeing that adding more compute is making them better, but there's so much more under the hood, like the training techniques that they use and all the different things that go on in the actual training data itself. So to just simply say that, yeah, we're going to build way better AI models by building faster computers, whatever that means, and pouring more money into AI training, we're going to get these way more advanced AI, and like that's going to take us to AGI. A lot of people, especially in the AI field, don't see LLMs, which is what ChatGPT is, as the thing that's going to take us to AGI in the first place. In fact, there are so many constraints that we are worried about before we even get to AGI. A lot of people are convinced that before we get to AGI, we're going to have energy constraints, because building these massive AI models that require so much power, like our current infrastructure doesn't support this. Like, there are so many different things that go behind this statement, and like there's so many assumptions that happen there. And so just to say this statement so comfortably and to just sort of say it as if like it's a truth is extremely problematic, because the average person doesn't understand or know anything about what's happening in the space. So they're going to hear that and they're going to go, okay, well, all these corporations and these companies have so much money and power, and they're just going to like, it's going to be so easy for them to just keep building more powerful and more advanced AI, where that's simply not the case. They then talk about how humanity is not ready for what will happen next, not socially, not economically, and not morally. And this is a very dark quote in a sense. I do completely agree with it, actually. Like, I actually do think that humanity is not ready. I think people aren't aware of what's happening and how much change is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be as drastic as they sort of make it sound in terms of like how fast that's going to happen. I think the change will happen and it will come. I do think it's going to take a bit more time than it sort of seems. But I definitely do think, and I agree with the fact that people aren't ready. They don't quite understand just how important and revolutionary this technology is going to be. They then mentioned that AGI, as intelligent as the average person, will disrupt modern civilization. Okay, we'll agree with that. We'll agree with that. And it says the creation of AGI could be as big as taming fire or electricity. I agree with this as well. But the creation of AGI is not something that is that simple to just say, oh yeah, we're going to create AGI. Like, do we understand how big of a deal that is? They, after mentioning all of these things, they then do mention that, and they say that this is all speculative, and say that we're going to create an AI, so past AGI, we're going to build an ASI, an artificial super intelligence, and that it's kind of like a god in a box. I don't know if we can even believe that something like that can be created, but my favorite quote from the entire video is definitely the part where they say, this scenario keeps people up at night, the scenario of AI becoming so powerful that it's going to like destroy humanity. If this is you, if you are kept up at night because of this scenario of AI destroying humanity, please seek help, a therapist or a psychologist, because you need help. Seriously, like if this keeps you up at night, I think you need to like look at yourself and figure out like, why are you so anxious? Like, where does that anxiety come from? Because that's not normal. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Okay. The entire premise of this video, the entire argument that they make, and they do mention the good things that could possibly happen in like a few sentences here and there, but it's mainly they mainly talk about the negatives and the bad things that can come of it. The entire premise of this video is kind of built upon the idea that if we built an AGI, and this is a very big if that they don't really talk about, and they sort of assume a lot of things there, but let's just say that big if happens, and that if we create AGI, the assumption is that if we were to build this AGI and like eventually it'll build an ASI, is that it's going to have some sort of intrinsic desire or motivation to want to destroy humanity. Why do we think that? Why is that the assumption? Like, we've written a lot of sci-fi, I get it, and we've seen a lot of movies and books and so on, and scenarios about how we built these incredible human machines, and like they destroyed humanity, or they wanted to destroy humanity. But there is no evidence to suggest that if we created some sort of a more intelligent AI, that it's going to want to destroy humanity. Like, why is that the assumption? First of all, like this notion that if we build AGI, it's just going to want to destroy humanity and it's going to have this intrinsic desire there's a serious problem with that, because now you're saying that we are going to build this AI and it's going to have desires or motivations. If we are to believe that this creation, that this man-made creation can have desires of its own, I genuinely worry that people will eventually like start worshipping something like that. Like if we were to admit, or if we were to believe that this man-made thing that is a bunch of algorithms and maths has its own motivations. AI models are built on what we have created. All of the training data, okay, comes from the internet. Guess who put that stuff on the internet in the first place? We did, me and you, all the human beings that use their imagination to write books and blogs and so on, and all the things that are on the internet. Human beings put that data there, and we're using our data, human beings' data, to train these models. And we are figuring out what goes in and what doesn't go into these AI models. And to say that they're going to have their own desires is, I just find that silly, because there is nothing to suggest that that is the case. There is no evidence to suggest that that would happen. We can steer the models in a certain way. We can give them certain data to make them act in a certain way, that they think that, okay, we want to do this or we want to do that. But to say that they're going to have their own desire, that their own motivation, like this is a soulless, man-made algorithm, and to say that it has its own feelings essentially, is a very slippery slope, I believe. I think we would have big problems if we were to believe that, yes, okay, these AIs that we have created, they have their own feelings and motivations and desires, and therefore they are intelligent entities that are on par essentially with humans, and they must have their own rights and so on and so forth. If we ever get to that stage, I would be very worried. But one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video was why? Why did Kurzgesagt make this video on AI and focus so much on the negatives and the bad things that can happen and how it's going to destroy humanity and it's going to be the last thing we ever create? It is an extremely negative video. I do think that, and I don't think that a lot of the older Kurzgesagt videos were like this. So it turns out that in the end, all you have to do is follow the money. And where does the money go to? Open Philanthropy invested over $2 million into Kurzgesagt. And they are a company that is founded on effective altruism. According to the actual website, effectivealtruism.org, effective altruism is a project that aims to find the best ways to help others and put them into practice. The problem with EA, however, has, over the last couple of years, its name has been tarnished significantly, and I think for the right reasons. SBF, who was the founder of the crypto exchange FTX, which is now bankrupt and it's basically gone, I think it's mostly gone, was one of the big heads of EA. And then people found out that, okay, this guy's actually mental and he's just willing to gamble over and over and over again and lose people's money. I mean, a lot of people lost a lot of money from the FTX saga. And so EA is this thing where it's like, okay, we want to help others and we want to make sure that people are taken care of and good things happen and so on and so forth. But all they seem to focus on is the bad things. And I think that's kind of the problem that a lot of people have now with EA, is that you have this branch that want to do good for people, yet they focus on all like just the terrible things that could possibly happen. And so one of the big things, for example, recently that happened was with OpenAI. When Sam Altman was kicked out from the board of OpenAI, it was because the people on the board uh, were like had like EA philosophies, I guess, and they were like, okay, OpenAI is moving too fast and they're commercializing too quickly, and we think they are incredibly dangerous. And so we think they're so dangerous that it's better that we kick out Altman and we like the company itself gets destroyed rather than they continue doing the work that they do. But look at what happened. Altman came back. OpenAI continued to do the work that they were doing. They even released a new model and they're doing all these new things, and nothing's happened. Or if you even go back, for example, last year, people were talking about how we need to pause AI development and we need a 6-month pause, and all these famous people signed that letter to say that we need to pause AI development. What happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. I mean, that pause didn't happen. We're now a year later or so on, more than that, and nothing has changed. The world, AI has changed a lot, and we have advanced and we've gotten better AI models. But where's all the bad things that people were saying? People were talking about how AI is going to destroy humanity in a year or something like that. I mean, I don't have a problem with looking at the good and the bad and like sort of taking both things and going, okay, what are the problems and what can we do to mitigate them and so on and so forth. But this focus on like this on the bad things in terms of like what AI is going to do to humanity and how it's going to have this intrinsic desire to destroy us is silly. I mean, there are so many other problems that we have to deal with right now and we have to look into in terms of AI. For example, jobs. AI is going to take a lot of jobs. That is a reality that we have to come to terms with and realize and figure out what's going to happen with that. But we're too busy focusing on these fantasy scenarios and how like when we build this super intelligent AI, it's going to destroy us. Like there are so many other things that we could be focusing on and taking care of right now. Yet for some reason, a lot of people are focused on these fantasy scenarios that have no basis in. There is no foundation, there is no evidence for any of these things. And frankly speaking, I think there is a moral problem with believing things like AI is going to have some sort of intrinsic desire. So that's what I wanted to discuss when it comes to the Kurzgesagt video. I wanted to sort of go over the video and talk about the things that I feel like they said that were completely wrong, or like the massive assumptions that they made. I think the average person, because they don't really know much about these things, they will watch a video from somebody that they trust, like Kurzgesagt, who has a massive following and has a very big reach, and they'll watch videos like that and they'll go, okay, wow, this is like really dangerous and scary. And I don't like this idea of being scared of a lot of these new technologies. You shouldn't be scared of AI. You shouldn't be scared of developing things that are going to help us. Like one of the problems that I have with the Kurzgesagt video is the fact that they don't really talk about any of the good things that have already come from AI. I mean, AI being used in medicine is already, for example, diagnosing people with breast cancer 5 years before they actually develop breast cancer. In so many different studies already, we have seen AI do incredible work in the field of medicine, like helping doctors do their work, helping nurses do their work, helping radiologists, do their work. So there are so many different things that are happening with AI, especially in the field of medicine, where a lot of good things are happening. We are going to save a lot of lives. If we build incredibly intelligent AI, it might even be able to one day solve, or find a cure to cancer. So that's what I'm talking about when I say like I like to view both sides. Yes, there are a lot of negatives, but yes, there are a lot of positives as well. And I feel like to sit here and stay up at night because you're scared that it's going to destroy humanity is silly. And if you want to do something about it, then do something about it. Work on it. Figure out how it works and figure out how you can make things better, and so on and so forth. But to scare people and to sort of build this atmosphere of negativity is not the right way to go about it, I believe. And there is a level of optimism we should have when it comes to building these new technologies. And I think so much good can come of them. And I can't wait to see something like AI being used, especially in medicine, and sort of improving the quality of life that we have around the world. I hope this video has helped you understand a bit more about what's happening in the space and where we stand exactly when it comes to AI. We're not exactly close to building something like what was mentioned in the Kurzgesagt video, but we are making significant progress. I do write a newsletter on AI covering basically everything that's happening in the space. So if you'd like to read about AI and what's happening in the space, you can find the link in the description. Otherwise, let me know what you think about the Kurzgesagt video, and let me know what you think about a lot of things that I have said, and what you think about AI and AGI and ASI and all these different things. Thanks for watching, and take care.